Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm Ling Zhang. Let's take a look at today's stories. In California, the governor is spotted maskless with other officials in large gatherings again. People are criticizing him and officials who have been mandating masks. A man convicted of molesting a 10-year-old girl receives a sentence to serve in juvie, right alongside minors, including girls. And the district attorney of the case is facing a recall effort. A Los Angeles councilman voices his support for the recall. Here's an update on the state's universal health care. It missed its deadline to pass in the state legislature this afternoon. Assembly Bill 1400 was supposed to be voted today, but did not receive enough support. Governor Newsom and other officials were spotted maskless at NFL playoffs. The trending topic was filled with criticism against him, along with debate on mask mandates. NTD's Eileen Ang has more on the story.
People are calling out Governor Gavin Newsom for not wearing his mask again, this time at the official championships at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles on Sunday. Magic Johnson was also present, maskless with the governor. The former basketball player was also with San Francisco Mayor London Breed and Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti. At a press conference, Newsom said,
"I was very judicious yesterday, very judicious, and you'll see the photo that I did take where Magic was kind enough, generous enough to ask me for a photograph, and in my left hand's the mask, and I took a photo."
He said he had his mask on the rest of the time except for a drink of water. In an Instagram post, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco said to end the mandates, calling them hypocritical elites. He said this is also why he won't enforce mandates on residents of Riverside County. Last week, the Los Angeles County Public Health Director said people going to the Super Bowl on February 13th must wear KN95 masks while at the SoFi Stadium, unless they are eating or drinking. Last September, Mayor London Breed was spotted clubbing maskless in San Francisco. In 2020, Newsom and Breed were seen dining indoors maskless at the French Laundry when restrictions and mandates were most strict. Eileen Ang, NTD News, California.
A 26-year-old man convicted of molesting a 10-year-old girl will not be serving his sentence in a prison. Instead, by actions of the Los Angeles District Attorney, the man will be serving his sentence in a juvenile hall for girls.
26-year-old James Tubbs was recently charged with molesting a preteen girl 8 years ago. In 2014, then 17-year-old Tubbs walked into the bathroom of a restaurant, grabbed the child by the throat, shoved her into a bathroom stall, and assaulted her, the Los Angeles Times reported. DNA evidence recently connected him to the crime. Tubbs was convicted of sexually assaulting 2 girls in separate attacks. He confessed and pled guilty when confronted with the DNA evidence. He then adopted his new female identity. After Tubbs was taken into custody, he renamed himself Hannah. He is still anatomically male, having not undergone reassignment surgery. The prosecutor, LA District Attorney George Gascon, tried Tubbs as a juvenile. As a result, he will be sentenced to juvenile hall. Further, Tubbs will be housed not only with minors, but also females. California passed a law last year that allows convicted criminals to be housed in a facility based on the gender they claim to identify. The law came from the LGBT community, citing protection of inmates. Tubbs' case may be the first instance in the United States of an adult male convicted of sexual assault being housed with female juveniles. Angelians are gathering signatures for a recall of George Gascon.
Speaking of recalling Gascon, a Democratic councilman announced his endorsement of recalling the Los Angeles District Attorney. Organizers of the recall said that he created a pro-criminal paradise. NTD's David Lamb reports.
A second recall effort against LA County's District Attorney George Gascon is underway. Organizers claim that the DA is too lenient on crime. The county already approved a petition on January 27th, and it's garnered support from Angelinos.
Today I'm endorsing the recall of District Attorney George Gascon. I normally don't believe in recalls, but what I'm seeing shocks the conscience so much that I can no longer remain silent.
Bruce Gaino, who's running for mayor this year, is a councilman for Los Angeles. His support for recalling the DA comes after a child molester was sentenced to juvenile hall with female minors, a case that the DA was prosecuting. Gascon issued a special directive in 2020 directing his prosecutors to seek dismissals of all charges related to 3 strikes, gun, gang, and other sentencing enhancements. He said the majority of those incarcerated belong to long disadvantaged groups. Buscaino, a former LAPD officer, said Gascon's policies have emboldened criminals and shunned victims' rights.
Los Angeles has become a place where harassers have free reign, thieves operate without shame, and where homicides happen nearly every day.
The DA's current term in office ends on December 2024. He claims the petition is a right-wing power grab supported by Trump backers and well-funded conservative operatives. According to the New York Post, Gascon was funded over $2.5 million by billionaire George Soros through a political action committee. Until July 6th, organizers have to submit and gather about 570,000 signatures in order for the measure to be on the November ballot. Last year, there was a previous recall attempt, but that initiative did not garner enough support. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
In Stockton, Fire Captain Max Fortuna was shot and killed while responding to a dumpster fire with colleagues early this morning. While they extinguished the fire, gunshots rang out and Fortuna was struck. The firefighters immediately started EMS care and transported Fortuna to the hospital. Unfortunately, the Stockton fire chief reported in a press conference that Captain Fortuna succumbed to his injuries. Fortuna was a longtime veteran serving the city of Stockton for 21 years. The investigation is underway. A Castro Valley man has been charged in a $1 million fraud scheme. He allegedly stole other people's identity to illegally obtain pandemic-related unemployment benefits.
In a complaint unsealed on Friday, Idou Hashim Shitu, a 46-year-old man from Castro Valley, was charged 3 accounts of fraud. The U.S. Attorney's Office said he illegally obtained more than $1 million in pandemic-related unemployment benefits. Prosecutors say Shitu used the personal information of 3 Washington state residents to request benefits from Washington State's Employment Security Department, or ESD. After the ESD deposited funds into bank accounts linked to the benefits requests, a person fitting Shitu's description was seen withdrawing the funds from ATMs in California's Bay Area. Shitu faces up to 15 years in prison for each account if convicted. He may also be ordered to pay restitution, fines, and other penalties, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of California. He was scheduled to make a court appearance on Monday.
Governor Gavin Newsom says the state is now beginning to dismantle the United States' largest death row. The state plans to move current condemned inmates to other prisons.
Governor Gavin Newsom suspended executions in 2019 and shut down the state's execution chamber at San Quentin Prison, north of San Francisco. His administration is now turning to a 2016 voter-approved initiative that allows inmates to be moved off death row. Under the initiative, condemned inmates are required to participate in prison jobs, with 70% of the money going towards restitution for their victims.
Challenge at San Quentin is there's not a lot of space for rehabilitation. This may provide additional space to increase programming. That's what we want to explore with that appropriation.
Since January 2020, corrections officials have moved 116 of the state's 673 condemned male inmates from San Quentin to one of 7 other maximum security prisons. Female condemned inmates are housed at the Central California Women's Facility in Chowchilla. 8 of the 21 have been transferred to less restrictive housing within the same prison. Under the state's transfer system, inmates are either housed in solitary confinement or with others if they are deemed safe enough.
So those are 2 points on the death penalty. One, I think it's immoral. I think it's wrong. We did a moratorium, but the voters of the state of California have advanced a principle of requiring that population to do work that they haven't been able to do in the current facility, and that's why we're reimagining the future.
Some states, like Illinois, abolished executions, but California is merging its condemned inmates into the general prison population with no expectation that they will face execution anytime in the near future. Newsom's proposed budget seeks to allocate $1.5 million to repurpose the vacant prison housing. California is one of 27 states that maintain death rows, according to the Death Penalty Information Center. The last execution carried out was in 2006.
And coming up, smash and grab robberies hit the Bay Area hard starting last year. After limited prosecution of individuals involved, a group is gathering signatures to change laws that some say led to new style theft. That and more here on NTD News. After the plague of smash and grab thefts passed the greater Bay Area, suspects have been arrested for taking part in the robberies, despite the San Francisco District Attorney saying the behavior was a felony conduct. 2 individuals have pleaded guilty to misdemeanors.
Out of 9 people arrested for organized retail theft in San Francisco, 2 have recently pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges, according to AB7 News. While the common sight was to see high-end retail stores burgled in a blitz attack style, cannabis dispensaries were also targeted. 2 individuals are now facing misdemeanor charges for their part in robbing the dispensaries. San Francisco Police Officers Association Vice President Trey McCray told ABC7 that it goes to our reputation that you could come here and basically get away with anything. The suspects originally faced 4 felony charges. The charges were looting during a state of emergency, second-degree commercial burglary, grand theft, and receiving stolen property. Both individuals will be on probation for a year. One spent 5 days in county jail and was fined, while the other spent 10 days in jail. San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin had previously said that the smash and grab robberies were felony conduct in November. He is facing a mounting recall effort from San Franciscans.
In response to rampant smash and grab robberies along with weak prosecution, a California group is gathering signatures to penalize repeat offenders. The group in charge is gathering signatures to change a law from several years ago.
Rescue California, a group for protecting Californians from legislation, executive overreach, and government regulation, is gathering signatures to fight smash and grab robberies. The group's interim chair, Ann Dunsmore, said in a Friday online press conference that politicians are actually responding to the crisis by making it easier on the criminals and, in fact, continuing to release them onto the streets. 623,000 signatures will be needed to get their initiative on the November ballot. Dunsmore says she expects they will have to gather 800,000 to have enough valid signatures. The group previously spearheaded the effort to gather votes to begin a recall election against Governor Gavin Newsom. Some have linked the rise in retail theft to Proposition 47. California voters passed Prop 47 in 2014, which changed how law enforcement could prosecute criminals. If less than $950 of goods are stolen, the charges become misdemeanors instead of felonies. A San Diego County law enforcement officer confirmed Prop 47's relation to increased crime at the conference. Vista Police Department Deputy Sheriff Josian O'Neill said, "We saw an immediate uptick in violent crime and property cracks throughout the state." He added that public safety has been on a steady decline due to bad policy decisions. Rescue California will gather signatures through volunteers, direct mail, and email. The deadline for turning in the signatures is in April.
Many Comcast customers missed out on the 49ers Rams NFC Championship game on Sunday after shooting broke out in Oakland. Bullets hit internet infrastructure, knocking out services.
All Comcast services in Oakland have been restored after thousands lost TV service following a shooting. According to Comcast, bullet holes damaged their fiber cables and impacted services throughout the day on January 30th. The company reported no injuries. A Comcast spokesperson said 15,000 to 20,000 customers were impacted at the height of the outage. The Oakland Police Department responded to the shooting in the 6800 block of MacArthur Boulevard at 3:30 a.m. on Monday morning. According to an OPD spokesperson, officers at the scene found multiple casings but did not locate anything struck. In addition, video surveillance showed an individual in a vehicle firing multiple rounds out of their window into the air. The investigation is still ongoing. Anyone with information is asked to contact the OPD's felony assault unit.
Attorney generals over half the U.S. states accused Apple of stifling competition through its Apple Store. Many state attorneys have filed similar antitrust lawsuits against major tech companies like Facebook and Google, but this is a first for Apple.
Attorney generals in 34 states appealed a recent ruling which allowed for the tech giant Apple to continue with restrictive practices involving the App Store. The Thursday remarks came from a coalition of lawyers headed by Utah. The team is appealing against a ruling in favor of Apple over video game producer Epic Games, maker of titles such as Fortnite. The original lawsuit stemmed from Apple limiting in-app payments to Epic Games. The states said Apple's conduct has harmed and is harming mobile app developers and millions of citizens. They added, Apple continues to monopolize app distribution and in-app payment solutions for iPhones, stifle competition, and amass super-competitive profits within the almost $1 trillion a year smartphone industry. The appeal comes after an Oakland, California-based district judge ruled against Epic Games last year. The judge ruled that the 15 to 30% commission that Epic had to pay to offer in-app purchases did not violate antitrust laws. Epic's challenge in the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals heard supportive testimony from both states and experts. The states said the lower court failed to balance the pros and cons of Apple's rules. They also said there was a mistake in deciding that a certain antitrust law applied to non-negotiable contracts. The states said, paradoxically, firms with enough market power to unilaterally impose contracts would be protected from antitrust scrutiny, precisely the firms whose activities give the most cause for antitrust concern. Apple is expected to respond in March, but said on Thursday their outlook is optimistic.
A $426 million lottery ticket was sold in Southern California on Friday night. Lottery officials say the lottery ticket holder has yet to come forward to claim the Mega Millions jackpot prize. The original price was advertised as a $421 million, but jumped by $5 million due to increased sales. The winning ticket was sold at a Chevron gas station in the Woodland Hills section of Los Angeles. After missing last year, San Francisco's Chinese New Year celebrations are set to begin on Tuesday. However, there was an official start Saturday in the city's Chinatown where crowds of people could be seen for perhaps the first time since the pandemic lockdowns began. NTD's Jason Blair brings us more.
San Francisco's Chinese New Year festival and parade returns to the city's famed Chinatown neighborhood after taking last year off due to COVID restrictions.
This whole parade, everything, big staple of Chinatown. It's nice to see it finally come back.
The festival officially kicks off on Tuesday with the start of the Lunar New Year and continues with activities planned throughout the month of February. Lantern Festival, the last day of the traditional celebrations, will fall on February 15th, and the parade is scheduled for Saturday, February 19th. Over the weekend, however, there was an unofficial start with a flower market fair and a mini parade led by community members and San Francisco Mayor London Breed.
Chinese New Year is about new beginnings, good luck, family coming together, the community coming together. Lots of hope and good fortune for everyone. It's a very positive time of the year for us.
The neighborhood's atmosphere has largely been low-key over the past 2 years with issues related to the pandemic and the lockdowns. Local businesses have had a tough time and many neighborhood activities have been canceled. However, on Saturday, the streets were packed with residents to pick up traditional holiday items, such as the kumquat tree, which symbolizes good luck and prosperity.
It feels very exciting to come back. The feel of energy, the feel of vibe. For Chinese culture, it's very important to hang out with family, be with friends, and to get together and kind of to mix the good energy around, to share the good vibes, share the good energy around. And so right now, it feels like a lot of the energy's come back. So it's very encouraging for all of us in the Chinese culture.
The festival and parade director Harlan Wong has been busy preparing for the event's return. He says he cannot wait for the official kickoff.
Chinese New Year is one of the biggest events for the Chinese culture. And this is, I always describe it as three of our American holidays rolled into one. It's like Thanksgiving because, as a matter of fact, instead of just one big family meal, we have many family gatherings. And it's like Christmas, instead of passing out gifts, we pass out wet envelopes. And there's no gift returning because they all have contain money. And then it's like Mardi Gras, a big parade, ended with a big celebration.
Lucas Lee, who helps operate a local shop with his family, said the past 2 years have been rough for business and the neighborhood in general.
We sell New Year stuff. If nobody celebrates New Year or do anything like that, how are we going to survive and make money? So I'm happy that things are opening up and people are coming back in.
This year's Lunar New Year activities will celebrate the beginning of the Year of the Tiger. The San Francisco Parade is the largest Chinese New Year parade outside of Asia and one of the only illuminated night parades in North America. Jason Blair, NTD News, San Francisco.
Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for an update on sports.
I'm Thomas Christian, taking you through the California Today Sports Roundup. The LA Rams came back from a 10-point deficit to defeat the 49ers 20-17 at SoFi Stadium. The Rams dominated time of possession and outgained the 49ers in total yards 396 to 282. Trevin Howard intercepted a pass intended for 49er JaMycal Hasty that was tipped up into the air, effectively ending the game deep into the fourth quarter. LA quarterback Matthew Stafford has proven he was a valuable offseason acquisition for the Rams. Stafford was traded from the Detroit Lions to the Rams for a price of Jared Goff, 2 first-round picks, and a third-rounder. With the Lions, Stafford owned a record of 0-3 in the playoffs, but has quickly turned things around in his first year with the Rams, already winning 3 playoff games this postseason. The Rams are now headed back to the Super Bowl, their last appearance being in 2019. They will be the second team in NFL history to host a Super Bowl in their home stadium, after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did it just last year. They look ahead to Joe Burrow and the upstart Cincinnati Bengals, who beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship round for their franchise's 3rd Super Bowl appearance. For the 49ers, head coach Kyle Shanahan now has a major decision to make heading into the offseason. Rookie QB Trey Lance has taken a backseat to starter Jimmy Garoppolo for most of the season, but now may get the nod after Garoppolo's poor play and physical limitations factored into their loss. Many believe that Lance could give the 49ers a higher offensive ceiling, but is he ready to take over the starting job at just 21 years old? As always, I'm Thomas Christian, and thanks for tuning in.
And that's all for tonight. You can join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. If you have any news tips or ideas for our show, feel free to let us know. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Ling Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.